Beneath the skies of Europe lies a paradox. A country not built on land, but on defiance. For centuries, the Dutch lived below sea level, locked in a struggle with the ocean. They drained lakes, rerouted rivers, and built walls against the seas. They bent nature to survive, but at what cost? The wild is gone. The forest, the wetlands, the silence between, vanished beneath concrete and control. And with them, something ancient slipped away. Our connection. Can a land that once conquered nature learn to welcome it back? Apparently so. I came here to learn how a small idea planted in the soil is quietly changing all of that. So, Mark, why do you create microforests?
The most important thing we create tiny forests is we want to connect people more to nature as they are in general. Most of our people, including children, they live in urban areas where the environment is very hard. It's a lot of pavement. They live in big blocks with no green, and the connection with nature is far away. So with the tiny forests, which are fast-growing, dense planted forests, we try to realize more wilderness in the areas where our people do live.
I am so excited. Here is a microforest. Finally, I get to actually visit one. We're at a school, and the students, no doubt, have put this in. I want to show you around. Come on. This entrance is so welcoming. It's great how the kids can just go in there and enjoy themselves, be with nature. I want to build one of these. What a beautiful little spot. Oh, this is so exciting. I love it. So this little microforest gets lots of use, and there's so many plants packed in here very densely. And once the trees are in, it actually attracts birds and animals, and also, let me show you something else. Come here. There's all these little snails that have found their way in and found a little home. And I wonder if, the kids find these little guys, they probably get as excited as I do. I always find species that I'm used to seeing. And here's one of my personal favorites. I mean, I know most trees are my personal favorites, but here is a beautiful elm, and it's doing great here in the microforest. Here's a silky dogwood. It's funny because the leaves look just a little bit smaller. It's doing the same thing, high in wildlife value. And I see some berries coming on here, and the birds will no doubt enjoy those. This willow is doing exceptionally well. It's got these lance-shaped leaves. Beautiful. So there's another benefit to having a microforest, and that is what it does to the soil. So all the detritus, the leaves, the sticks, they fall down, they break down, and it changes the soil. So it also attracts the microorganisms, and it attracts fungi, all beneficial, all the living things that are here. And the soil is really dark and rich, and it's definitely different from the soil that's over on the other side of the playground. Since microforests are small, they can go just about anywhere, just like this very idyllic neighborhood. This is an amazing spot. Very, very natural. They love their nature, that's for sure. So they've set aside this little spot, and there is nature all around, but within this area, there are very specific trees and shrubs, different from what is on the outer side. And so this is just another added benefit to all the wildlife that's around here. This is only a year and a half old. They put in bigger plants so that they can grow a lot faster, and many, many species, very, very diverse. And I could see that even the floor still has the remnants of the straw, and this is how they do. Actually, I've just read about it, and soon I will be able to see exactly what recipe they use. It's very exciting. This is very cute. So we call these tree cookies, they're just cuts of wood. They put their name on this, and so they personalized it. They put it in there. They want to come back and they want to see.
There was an educational activity. I just wanted to be there to see how it works, what they did. And one boy, aged 9 or 10 years old, went to his tree because he recognized his tree because of this wooden piece with his name, but the tree was dead. But he stood with it and he was proud to have found his tree. And although the tree died, it didn't matter to him.
Out of all of the microforests that I wanted to visit, this one is extra special. This area is called Flevoland, and in this area, the Dutch actually drained the ocean to reclaim land, and so very interesting. More on that later, but let's check out what we have here. So this microforest is a little bit different. It's a little more like a meeting place. There's an area to sit, some logs to sit on. This one is more mature than the other ones. The plants are much bigger, and what happens in a microforest is the plants, because they're so densely planted, it encourages very fast growth. All right, now I'm still in Flevoland, and I was looking for a spot just like this, and just 75 years ago, this whole area was underwater, and now completely changed. They planted lots of trees in certain spots, and look at this beautiful specimen. It is enormous and doing very well, despite the fact that this used to be the seafloor. This right here is the telltale sign that buck were here, because the buck rub, and they rub their antlers up against the tree to try to get the velvet off of their antlers. I just like to see that there are deer in the area, as well as other animals and flora and fauna. Excellent, just found this beautiful specimen. It's a cottonwood. Cottonwood loves this spot just because the ground here is nice and moist and rich, and it just made for a very beautiful tree. So there's one thing about a forest, and a forest changes the soil. And so under these leaves, no doubt, there's nice, rich, dark earth. And there it is, beautiful, beautiful earth. Oh yeah, has that organic smell, that beautiful earth organic smell. This is definitely a successful microforest right here. Very, very dense. Trees are very tall, some 40 feet. Oh, look at this too. So this right here is the only clue that lets us know that there was a microforest planted. It's the bamboo, it's got the little tie, and definitely, yeah, it's long gone, but it's a wonderful reminder of where it started from. One of the things that happens in a microforest is succession. Succession is supposed to occur On purpose, they planted plants that are full sun, but whenever the trees grow up and shade out a lot of the plants, then those plants will die back just like a regular forest. So it's a very natural process. This location right here, a little more urban, but still very interesting. Let's check it out. So here's another beautiful example of a microforest that is thriving and very tall. Looks like 40 feet, 45 feet, mature and doing well right here at the school.
One of the times, I think half a year ago, I went here and I just had my camera out to take some pictures, and then I entered the forest. Well, then there were two teenagers, two boys, I think 14, 15 years old, around that age. They just were sat down here in this area, and I felt a little bit uncomfortable because I entered more or less their space. And although we planted this forest, so it's also my or our forest, it was their space, and that's also how it works. And it was good because we planted it for the community.
Creating microforests isn't the only way the Dutch have brought back the wild. They also drain parts of the sea to make new land. Nothing says the Netherlands like the windmill. Now, remember when I was talking about Flevoland and how they pumped out water and made land? Well, this is how they did it. They used the windmills and they pumped out the water and created the land. I did not know that we'd be able to find one of these, but this is an operational water mill that takes the water from down below and delivers it on the other side of small dikes. Let me show you the inside, the inner workings of this water mill. Very cool. So there's an Archimedes screw in here, and it spins and takes the water up. It's actually not spinning right now, but I hear the water rushing down. When the screw turns, the water goes uphill against gravity, and this actually still works, which is really neat. This is a great spot to see the difference in elevation. So right here we have the water basically at my feet, and down below there's sheep in a pasture, and you could see the elevation difference, and it's pretty dramatic. So that's a lot of water, a lot of weight that has to be brought up through the Archimedes screw and delivered up here just with wind power. That's impressive. So I'm standing on top of a dike, an amazing engineering structure. Behind me, the water level, the land way lower, the sea much higher. It protects the land. Where have you brought me now?
Well, I just brought you to one of our newest forests, which was planted last winter. So this is the first growing season of the forest. As you can see, this one is rather different from the one we visited just before, the 7-8-year-old one. When people ask me what will the forest be like in the end, then you have to visit the older ones. But this one is really new. All the seedlings we planted do have more or less the same level. You can see they are all planted in the same size, so it's rather monotonous in the image we get of the forest.
With the people of the Tiny Forest, we created this forest. In the 6th grade, a few years ago, there were children planting the trees, and they are now this big, and we planted when they were this high. Every day we play here. They can run, and they make shelters. They play hide and seek. It also gives shadow and less heat, so when it's warm outside, we also like to play here. So we are very happy to have a tiny forest.
We planted only the part behind. That's our original tiny forest, which was about 200 square meters. As you can notice, more or less a tennis court, the size of a tennis court.
Sure.
But later on, the local community of Utrecht decided to extend the forest with a planting at some different sides of the forest. So they even made it bigger than it was before, but you still can notice the difference because this is planted, I think 2-3 years ago, and the other one 6 years ago. But that's wonderful.
It is,
Yeah.
it is. It sounds like you inspired them
Yeah.
into action.
Yeah, we did.
And that's
yeah.
one of the most important
Yeah,
things
of course.
is to have
Yeah.
that kind of
Yeah.
impact.
Tiny forests are reshaping how we see nature. Not as something to control, but as something we're a part of. Where once there were walls and water pumps, there are now saplings and school children. Here, amidst historic engineering, resilience grows. Not against nature, but alongside it and in these small wild spaces. We may be reclaiming something we never truly lost. It was just waiting to be replanted.